All right, if you hear that scary music, it means it is Tuesday and it is time for Comic Book School Live, the show that gives you the craft and business of making comics. My name is Buddy Scalera and I am the host of Comic Book School Live, and I am joined here by my good friend Deanna Destito, and we're going to be giving you everything that you need to know about scary comics, especially if you are either an aspiring comic book creator, an established comic creator, or just somebody who really wants to know more about making comic books. Let's get this thing going. All right, Deanna, I'm pretty excited. Are you excited? We were talking backstage. This is what, your favorite holiday, right?
This is my absolute favorite holiday. I love Halloween.
I love Halloween too. Actually, let's put on our Halloween background music. So I'll show my shirt first.
Okay.
I'm wearing my my pumpkin shirt, and you have a shirt as well. Go ahead.
Okay, that's my shirt.
Just wait until it's. I'll just wait until it's quiet. I think that's significant because you are a what?
I teach kindergarten.
You teach kindergarten, which is kind of what we sometimes do here on Tuesday nights.
And they don't stop talking, so I died waiting for them to stop talking.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! All right, so Redheaded Ed asks, I like the thumbnail. Who did that graphic? What thumbnail?
It was me.
I don't know. It was either me or her. I don't know. Let's see what else we got. Hello, Arta Victor Medina. We've got Brian Acosta. Oh, hold on. You greet them. I'm going to play the music.
All right. Hello. Brianna says hello, everyone. Who else we got? Redheaded Ed. Hey, guys. Redheaded Ed is regular here. Ooh, Matthews. Your harvest children seeing how it is in the kid garden.
Kid garden. That is dad joke level. Wow.
I love a good dad joke, though.
Love a good dad joke. But you know what you also love? You love a good horror comic, and I know why, because you write them. We'll be talking about that in a moment. But tonight we're going to be talking about what comic book creators need to know about creating scary comics, Deanna, by analyzing the comic books that are out there of yesteryear, and then the comic books that work now. But first, before we get any further, if you're new to the show, my name is Buddy Scalera. I am a comic book writer. I have published 6 books on the craft and business of making comics. I got my career start at Wizard Online and Wizard Magazine, and have published my own independently published comics. More to come. You can even see the Comic Book School logo there, so you'll see more comic books. And I am joined by Deanna Destito, who's the managing editor of the Comics Beat, the must-read on the internet if you want news. She also got her start as Sassy at Wizard Magazine. I did not know that about you, but now that I know that you're Deanna Sassy Destito, I don't think I can ever let that go. We're super, super excited to have you here, Deanna. Thank you so much for filling in for Mike the Solo. Oh, wait, I gotta put the cheers up a little bit. Yeah. So Mike's out apparently earning money. So you graciously decided to come in and join us tonight about scary comics. But I do want to set the stage by saying that Deanna has not just read a lot of comic books and seen a lot of movies. She's made a whole bunch herself. What is this, and where can they get it?
Sure. This is Quiet Corners. This is my new series. It's like a mini anthology series. So every issue is going to have 3 or 4 mini short horror comics. So this is the first issue, and it has 3 different stories and 3 different artists. And then issue 2 should be coming out soon. Again, 3 different stories. I wrote all the stories, but it's a different artist. So it's a different style. And with every style of artist, it's a different type of horror because there's so many types of horror. So I tried to do a little bit of everything.
So you adapt to the talents of your artists.
I do.
What an innovative thing. Also, you have what?
So this is From the Ashes. This is actually not horror per se. It's more of like a mystery thriller kind of a thing. Not really nothing supernatural or anything like that. But this is the first in a detective series that I'm trying. This is a little bit out of my element. I'm mostly horror. Like my other prose books and comics are all basically horror and supernatural. This is not. So this
We
is the
do
first.
have a horror here.
Yes, that's my horror short story collection, Tales to Read at Night. I have another. I'm working on a second one. I'm actually working on a kids version of this. That's my new news. So kind of like with a little bit of an R.L. Stine inspiration, some of those old school, kids things. I have a kid version that I'm currently working on.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. And you know what, Deanna, being that it's literally almost Halloween, this should be Tales to Read tonight.
Yes, every night.
Well, people can get this on Amazon, right?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. If you have the Kindle app, you can get it in the Unlimited as well. It's free on the Unlimited app, or you can purchase it digitally, or you get a hard copy as well. I also have these at the shows that I do, the Comic-Cons.
All right, let's see what the audience is saying. So Matthew Giff had dropped a dad joke level joke in there, and then he went ahead and reinforced it.
I prize myself on my C-level jokes. After all, the best jokes are the ones you see coming. Getting better and better, Matthew. I love it.
He's doing it. He did. You see what he did there?
I see what he did there.
Thank you, Matthew. All right, what do we got here? Thank you.
Hey, buddy. Oh, when's your birthday?
Tomorrow.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I knew that the whole time.
You've been putting $10 in a jar, right?
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. This is my birthday. Every year, Halloween is the birthday episode. So.
Oh, nice.
All right, here we go. What does this say? Andrew Campbell, Kick Matthew. Oh, cool. All right, I'll let you do the reading there.
Sure. Will there be less death?
I think in your kids' version of Tales to Read at Night.
Yes, hopefully. Well, there's I mean, it's not going to be clearly as brutal because, some of them are pretty, in the kids' version, yeah. No, it's going to be obviously more like, scary stories, campfire stories, are you afraid of the dark kind of stuff.
Fair enough. I think it's going to be great. And Godzilla seems to be is kicking him out.
I love it. You could stay, Matthew. I like your dad jokes.
We like your dad jokes a lot, Matthew. We think they're good sport. So if you have not yet surfed on over to Deanna Destito, you can find links to all of these and more, but you can also find them on Amazon. Definitely check out Deanna's work. Mike and I do the show because we make millions on it. I mean, clearly, obviously, you can see from the clothes that I wear. But Deanna does it for free. So if you ever want to thank Deanna, you should feel free to go over there and, buy her stuff.
Yeah, go buy my stuff. It's cool.
Go buy her stuff. I would also be remiss if I did not note that my first major self-published comic book was called Necrotic. Which was inspired by The Living Mummy by Marvel Comics. It actually was a pitch for Marvel Comics by me and a name that you would undoubtedly not recognize because he was working under a pseudonym. M. Swank is actually Mike Martz.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah, so he went and we launched After Hours Press. Pat Quinn went on to do DC work and works at the Savannah College of Art and Design. I republished it a few years ago when we put it on Comixology. And pretty soon I will be making it available online in the Patreon, which we'll be talking about very, very soon. But I, too, share a love for, I would say, good campy horror, but horror and humor. But I love to read good, scary stuff just like you, Deanna.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about scary comics, and all things scary require a trigger warning. Why don't you read out the trigger warning so that we fulfill our requirement?
Sure. Trigger warning. Certain images may be disturbing to some viewers. So if things are, not just scary, but there might be some heavy material that is discussed, some images that are a little heavy, leave now if you don't like it.
Yeah, I'm going to argue that certain image will be disturbing to all viewers. Some of the stuff
I hope it's disturbing to you, because if it's not disturbing to you, I'm concerned. But, but yeah.
And hey, Jeff just made it. Jeff last week was the community member of the week.
Woo!
So yeah, we do that when Mike's here. You don't have to suffer through community member of the week because you just jump it. You're dropping in to do a special job, and we appreciate you for that.
Yeah, I love being here.
Filling in as Mike is doing the money thing.
Yeah, jobs.
Okay. So, before I set this up and talk and really get into this, there's this concept of pre-code comics. Deanna, you are a comic book journalist. What does it mean when somebody says something is a pre-code comic book?
That's the comics code. That was that stamp on the front of the comic books for a very long time. And if it didn't pass the code, it wasn't published. So pre-code was anything that was published prior to all those regulations put on the comic books.
Now, the comic book covers, not all of them were this gruesome, but some of them, including this center one here, where there's a clear beheading, was found to be, for whatever reason, inappropriate for children.
Yeah.
At the time, it was thought that comics were only read by children and poorly adjusted adults. So the idea that these would get into the hands of children was shocking to some, and some of these comic book covers caused quite a controversy, as you can see why. If you were, I mean, you have kids, I have kids. I might find, the head being used as a bell to toll the bell a bit much. Maybe in your classroom, maybe a bit much.
A little bit. I wouldn't show this on my Promethean board. No.
But what ended up happening was there were more and more comics that were in the pre-code. Again, I'm gonna just say I'm glad we gave the trigger warning. For a comic book that was theoretically targeted to kids, that's a little much.
Well, they're pretty heavy, and that's why the code. It's so funny because just in general, we tend to swing the pendulum very, very to each side, right? So it's like we went all the way this way, and then suddenly we're like, no, this is not appropriate for children. Children are going to read these comics. So then we go the complete opposite way, where nothing was allowed.
Nothing was allowed. And actually, hold on.
Look at that middle image. I mean, it's just, this girl's getting choked out. It's pretty gruesome,
Yeah, I want to talk about that one real quick. Read me out the comments here. What do we got?
We are about to distribute out. Opt out now if you are scaredy pants. True.
No, you have to pronounce the word as it was typed.
Okay.
With the typo. Go ahead.
We are about to distribute.
There you go. So if somebody accidentally makes a typo, heaven help you, we will read your typo. Okay.
I'm sorry. I go automatically into editor mode and I start auto-correcting. Back when rock and roll and comics were turning the youth into communists.
It's true.
Poor adjusted adults won't find any of those here. Never.
Nope.
Never. That's right, Matthew. We are all maladjusted here. I mean, wait, it's true. It is true. But yeah, I mean, obviously some of that imagery is a little rough for something that's eventually going to, end up in a child's hands, of course. But then, we also have to keep things in context. Like children of today they're not the same as children of yesteryear. We're made of different stuff.
They were made of Night of the Triffids. Yeah. Now, by the way, Andrew Campbell is in Australia, so you do have to do this with an Australian accent.
You know what's been stressing me out since the last time I was on here? The Australian accent. I've been like, maybe I should really be practicing this, and then I feel like I'm going to offend somebody. So I will attempt it. I can't. I'm really sorry in advance.
The other thing you can do, in the way I do it, is you go out of your way to absolutely not have a.
I feel like anytime I attempt an accent, it turns Russian. So I don't know if I should do that.
Yeah, do it. Do your accent.
Let me warm up a bit. Maybe later.
You're gonna warm up. Okay. I'll do it for Andrew. Okay. Hey, everybody! Andrew need to do the accents. So I do it like I'm Mickey Mouse.
That's very Mickey of you. Okay.
That is very Mickey of you.
I'm not poor adjusted. I am maladjusted.
See, it's more fun to read it with the typos.
I like it. I repeat, geez, one beer with dinner and my typos were going to be so much worse tonight.
And I think they approved of my accent. Okay, so let's get back. So I did want to address this one because you noted this one. Crime suspense stories number 19 and number 23. So we're talking about the same calendar year. If I were the editor, I would look into the artist who is drawing this because I feel like this artist has some unresolved issues that, what? It's like, hey, Bob, has everything at home.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially the same image of him, this guy with his hands around a woman's neck. I mean, it's a little disturbing. And you wonder. Yeah.
So for whatever reason, by the way, those are the crime suspense stories. So they weren't just the horror. there were some pretty extreme comic book covers. This is a good one.
Hey, hon, how's the wife?
Oh wait, hold on. They're gonna give you a pass on this one.
Oh no. Oh no. Yet we love the Russian accent. It's proper for correct cultural education. See, I can't do it. I can't do this. This is
Actually, that was coming off pretty good.
not cultural assimilation. I can't do it. That's it. I'm from New Jersey. That's all I can do.
All right, hold on. You got a thread here. So you've got, hey hun, how's the wife? And then
It's going swimmingly. Thanks. We're like, where's the wife? I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know what's
where's
going
the wife? Well, she's not here anymore. So they're commenting on this. So what ended up happening was this. Dr. Frederick Wortham, a psychologist who at best could be described as a pop culture psychologist, looked into the threads between child delinquency, which is what they called it at the time, child delinquency, and found that a lot of these children were reading comic books. If they wanted to do the same thing, they could probably have found that a lot of these kids were chewing gum. But they decided, or at least Frederick Wortham, MD, decided that the common thread were comic books. And they began hearings in which they hauled creators and publishers in to talk about the comic books that they were publishing. It did not go well for the comic book industry, so badly that it ended up with the Comics Code, which you can see there in the right corner, which was a body of self-censorship in which the comics books publishers would submit their materials to an independent body that would review the comics to ensure that they were sufficiently safe for children and not to turn them into delinquents. You can see on the right the actual Comics Code. That was the code as it was written, stripping out all remnants of horror, crime. Bad guys had to be punished. Good guys couldn't lose.
Yeah,
It
but it was
was
also anything graphic. It was like sexual content, anything. Everything had to be everything was basically pared down to, this code of ethics that every book had to go by. And the story couldn't have anything overly graphic.
Yeah, and there were times where they were like really onto something, or like no comic magazine shall use the word horror or terror in its title. And you're like, seriously? That's going to cause delinquency?
Yeah.
There was definitely, like, look at this. Crime shall never be presented to create sympathy for the criminal.
Well, and there's a part about the police. The police always have to be, where is it? The police judges.
Right here. Policemen, judges. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's all respected institutions shall never be presented in any sort of disrespecting of authority had to be respected the entire time. It put a lot of limits on the stories that had to be told if you wanted to get this code put on your book. And it was going on for, I remember reading comics up until a very, a pretty old age, and they were still on, the code of comics was still on there.
So there was a time where you had the Comics Code, which you'll see this in the 60s and 70s comics at a time when comics were beginning to decline. And this was killing comics because it was just ensuring that the material could not exceed anything other than targeted towards young kids. This became the rise of superheroes because you could have heroes defeat villains every time. You had a lot of funny animals. You had a lot of Westerns. You had TV adaptations. But horror was practically stripped off the map. For all intents and purposes, horror was as vanilla as you could get. And then things started to loosen up in the 70s. But before we go, you're a journalist. How much is this on the mind of industry professionals that censorship could possibly come back again? Is there ever any concern? Do industry professionals today talk about the seduction of the innocent? Because remember, I only know creators from when I came up. You know the current people.
Well, it's funny because, like I said before, the Comics Code was still on books till relatively recently. I remember, in the 90s, early 2000s. I don't remember when the exact year that they started taking it off the books, but they were on there. Like I remember reading X-Men comics in the 90s and it still had the comics code stamp on it. And I know that I think the 90s is like a decade ago and it's like 30 years ago, but like, but my point is that like, it wasn't just in the 60s and 70s. It did go through quite a bit, quite into the future. And then it's funny now, it like, for a while, once that was removed, it was a little bit more free. You can write about what you wanted. You could be gory, you could be graphic, whether it's a horror book or a crime book or even just a superhero book. It got, you can have that gritty scene within the pages of X-Men or Batman or whatever it was, especially a character like Batman, right? He's a little bit darker than some of the other guys. Or Punisher, another one that could be a little bit more graphic. But then now there is a sense of like recently a lot of books, both comic books and fiction books, are being banned again, right? There's a new wave of censorship, and it is a topic, it is a concern. But I think the difference now though than back then is if a publisher or somebody wants to publish their book, there are other ways to do it. They don't have to deal with that. Like
that was, to get on the newsstands. So the audience asks, and maybe you know the answer to this. I don't want to put you on the spot.
The lawyer going against video games. I don't know the name of the lawyer. I know what you're referencing, but I don't remember the name of the lawyer. No, I don't.
Gatilla answered.
This is my dad's sign. Oh no, I'm very sorry. So with the code of comics made it safe to be Green Lantern's girlfriend or fridge.
Oh my God, that was awful.
Listen and write something morally for goodness sakes. Yeah, morally decent. Yeah. I mean, you would love to, but sometimes you got to write a dark story. The code was 2011. Okay, thank you. The code was dissolved in 2011 when DC and Archie finally stopped using it. There we go. Thank you for.
Is this D. Morris's first?
I know. Hey, it's Dan. I know Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hold on. Let's give a round of applause for. Hold on.
Hey.
So he gets his achievement like this, and he gets his welcome. Thank you for being. This is his first appearance.
Dan is one of our writers at the Beat. He's from Stately Beat Manor.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming. So apparently that's why Dan knows things. Dan knows things. Dan knows things. All right, here we go. Let's see. The comments keep flying through. We'll never make it through.
I got my morals from reading Aleister Crowley's bio. That's funny.
Got a laugh from the audience. There you go.
Geez, they could have let kids work in the mines again to stop delinquency. That's a good point.
Good point.
Joe Lieberman, is that true? I don't know. Maybe.
Joe Lieberman. I thought that was a politician. All right, D. Morris.
There he is again. Dan is also a very big horror fan, so he's a very good source of knowledge on this topic.
Well, here's a good question. I don't know the answer to this. Read this one.
Was Archie ever lurid or unsavory? I do not have a tremendous amount of Archie knowledge besides the basics, so I would not be able to answer that, unfortunately. Dan knows things. Sounds like a great YouTube channel to me. Let's go, Dan. Let's make it happen. Now Joe Lieberman sucked in the late 90s.
I don't know. Is that a football player? Now I'm like, I don't even know who Joe Lieberman is. All right, let's move on. Okay, so what ended up happening was postcode. There were comics that you can see they do their best to work around. This was at a certain point when they started to loosen up. You still see the code here as a great Bernie Wrightson cover. They were allowing vampires and werewolves because this was part of pop culture. These movies were becoming much more prevalent, but you can see they were still kind of leaning into pretty non-scary things. Definitely not the violence. You've got a guy holding a sleepy puppy, I'm hoping. It looks like maybe a dead puppy. Muffin, come up here. I'm going to just show you this one. I still own this comic book. This is an all-time favorite. Hold on, let me see. I still own this comic book. Love it. Read it a million times. Never scared once. It was not scary. These were not scary comics. And I mean, neither was this. Like, this doesn't scare. Even as a kid, when I was a kid, this didn't scare me.
Yeah.
You know? So as a child of the 70s, that didn't scare me. neither did this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oh, I gotta move this out of the way. Hold on one second. Let's just see real quick. I'm just gonna delete this one because I just thought this was funny. Killdozer. Like, who was like, oh, this is the kids are gonna love a bulldozer that talks.
Murders.
Killdozer.
Killdozer.
They were stretching. But this is the kind of stuff that, like, if you were into horror,
this is all you
and
have.
you're a good deal younger than me, these were your choices. Would this have done it for you?
Not even a little bit, no.
Right? Would you have been like, oh, get me a piece of Killdozer?
No. I mean, I think, what year, I mean, these are 70s, these comics?
Yeah.
These are Killdozer. But, I mean, I wasn't alive in the 70s, but, like, if I were to say, like, I would pick up a comic book, I would feel like these are not, I feel like I just go read R.L. Stine. I was scared. We're scared by that. Or go watch Nickelodeon. Are you afraid of the dark?
Well, people seem to be responding to Killdozer. I don't want to slight Killdozer, but like you would see these supernatural thrillers, the living, it was just dull incarnate.
Yeah.
Actually,
it's still watered down. It's not scary yet.
It's not scary, and I think one of the things when we did the reboot, we pitched Marvel on doing a Mummy. We wanted it to be scary and modern and psychologically interesting. Again, I don't know what the hell's happening with my slides, but like you would have things like Fin Fang Foom, right?
Yeah,
that wasn't scary.
Scary, yeah.
Right, and then
it's like
there was a loosening. Yeah, there was a loosening, and then they sort of took on, I guess, what can be considered some of the universal monsters, right? The werewolf, the vampire, the mummy, and then, of course, the Marvel zombie. Again, mildly interesting, but like, I don't know. As a kid, and I know that some people love this series, but like, I don't know. I see this guy, I'm like, oh, I don't connect with the guy in the suit with the. It's not scary.
It looks like Vincent Price. Well, I think that's especially at this time period. The camp factor is still there, right? It's a little campy. It's a little cheap. I think it's not supposed to be scary because they're still catering to a young audience. They still are trying to, stay by this comics code. So they want to have. That's why I think they lean into these characters like Dracula, the Mummy, zombies, werewolves, because it's like these are classic characters. They're not scary anymore, Yeah.
I just want to note that the main character of Werewolf by Night is named what? Come on, Deanna, you know this. What's his name? What's the character's name?
I don't
Jack Russell. Who?
Oh,
Jack Russell. The Werewolf by Night is named Jack Russell. How editor? That's how not seriously editorial took this. They were like, I don't know, Jack Russell, whatever. Just put out a comic.
Yeah. Why did they give Christopher Lee a widow's peak and a mustache? I was saying Vincent Price, but I could see Christopher Lee as well. I mean, both fit perfectly because I'm sure they've worn that costume in several movies. Killdozer was also a movie. It was about as good as it sounds. This is the first time I've heard of Killdozer. I'm kind of excited. I might go look this up now.
Yeah, you definitely should. You could definitely find that in a corner bin.
Don't tell that to Jeremy Renner.
All right, so we're getting to the modern age now.
Okay,
Deanna, so prior to starting this, when you professed your love of all things horror, I prompted you with a question. I said, why is it so hard to make scary comics? And then we started to talk about comics versus film. Talk to us about comics versus film and why film is a different medium for presenting horror.
Well, I mean, comics, even though the page has movement with the drawings, there is literally no move. They're not moving, right? So, and you look at a page and, you see everything. So the jump scare is not there like it can be in a movie. I can set up a shot in a movie and then I could give you the jump scare without leading it, without you seeing it. On a comic page, unless you do a flip, right? Unless you have it on the next page, it's not there. It's not the same. Comic books also don't have the atmosphere that a film can build, like the music, the light. I mean, you can play with the art as far as lighting goes, and some comic books do that very well. But a movie, you have sound that you don't have in a comic book. You have sound effects. You have sometimes the lack of the music in a movie is frightening. it builds up that tension. And, you know, when there's nothing happening, you're waiting for the big jump to happen. Right. Right. So that's a huge difference. Is the jump scares missing, you know, from a comic book, which you can play up on a film, and also just all those atmospheric elements that a comic book just doesn't have, like the music and the sound and the lighting and things like that.
Yeah, this sets a tone, right? You're like,
it sets you up.
Right. So you get the sound, and of course, as you noted, the jump scare. Mm-hmm. We don't have a jump scare.
Right.
You open up a comic book, the pages are spread out, and you are making a contract with the creators to say, I am going to read in the Z pattern, starting from the top left corner, and then reading this page, and I'm not going to look at the right-hand facing page, and I'm not going to cheat by looking forward, even though you're fully in control. A film,
you can't control that.
Right. Yeah. You just have to be completely passive. You cannot do anything. Comics, you have to be somewhat active. Hence, making it much more difficult for you to fall into the jump scare mode or the creepy music, right? We culturally have music that makes us know something scary is about to happen.
Right.
Right. So you don't have that in comics. All the dialogue, you're filling in with your own voice. During this scene, Jack Nicholson changes his voice to attack his wife, and he now sounds extremely scary. We just don't have that in comics.
Right. No, they don't. And especially with something like that, especially like The Shining or something like that, where you see his tone, you hear and you see his tone change from when he goes, you know, pre-possessed to when he's attacking his family. In a comic book, it's like you said, it's your voice. So you don't have the actor's skill helping you along.
Right. Or I'll do it. Wendy, darling, I'm home.
He's fantastic in this movie. I love it.
He is. All right, hold on. Let's. We got a little bit of Q's and a little bit of A's. Go ahead.
Did you find horror easier to do in your book or in your comic? That's actually a good point, because in a book, when there's no pictures to guide, it's all description. It's a different kind of setup that you have to do than a comic. So I think it's actually easier in a comic because the artist can draw whatever's happening in my head. I have to describe it and make it work in a book with just the words. And I think that's a bit of a harder, to me, that's harder because I don't have that visual. The visual helps you. Having that visual helps you and the reader see exactly what it is that you want them to see. When you don't have that, it's all based on description. And if I don't do that justice, if I don't do that properly, it falls flat. The scare is gone. And the art in a comic can build that atmosphere, and maybe not like a film can, but it does build that. You know, it helps you build that atmosphere within a book. It's just words on a page. It's a
That's great. That's a great point. And then Jeff says,
we don't have jump scares, but we do have cover prices. That is true.
All right. And then Redheaded Ed, who's an animator.
Motion comics. It's not a comic. It's not animation. Discuss. I mean, true. I mean, the motion comics is kind of a in between, I guess.
But it's not a standard comic. Okay.
No, it's not.
So what's scary about modern horror? So Deanna and I will present to you about 8 to 10 scary comic books, like legitimately scary comic books. Now, I am going to note again, Deanna, give them the read.
Trigger warning. Certain images may be disturbing to some viewers. I hope they disturb you. That's the point.
Yes. So modern horror depends on a lot of psychological factors. And I think the books that we have chosen will help you to understand why the moment in this comic is so horrific. And I believe the first one is by you, sure. Deanna. Do you want to lead off?
Sure. So this is from Walking Dead number 48. To me, this is one of the most horrific, and this is a zombie book. This is an apocalypse, you know, full of zombies and dead things. And honestly, the zombies aren't even the scariest part. The humans are the worst in this series. But this particular section, this particular story in this page, I should say, is particularly horrific because it's when Laurie holding Judith is killed, and they're both killed. If anybody's never read the book in the series, that's Laurie dies, but Judith continues on into the future, and she becomes this, you know, big deal. But she's a baby when she gets murdered in the book, and it's really horrific because they're shooting at Lori, and they don't, if I'm remembering correctly, they don't even realize the people who are shooting don't even realize she's holding the baby. And then they shoot her and the bullets go through her and to the baby. And you could see it in the photo, which is like this explosion. And what's really particularly disturbing is that you can see how horrific it is, and it's in black and white. There's no color. It's a black and white comic, and it still gives you that visceral reaction of like, oh my God, it's horrific. And and then having small children specifically, this hits me hard because that's the mom and her baby. So like that to me, like that was worse for me after I had kids. You know, because it's horrendous. And like I'm pretty sure this takes place pretty early on in the series, and I'm pretty sure it's like you know anything about the book, it's when the governor, it's that he was the main big bad in this era, and it's his people who were shooting at them, and he's horrible, the governor, and it's one of his people that shoots her and kills the baby too.
Yeah, this is pretty. It's gruesome. Yeah, you know, you see her insides being blown out, but a mother trying to protect her baby who can't protect her baby. That's true horror.
It is.
That is right. You want the mother. You're okay with the mother sacrificing herself to protect her kid, as any parent would, but to lose the kid too. When you explain the scene, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, it's rough.
That is rough.
And there are a lot of really horrific deaths in this series, but like I said, and maybe it's because I'm going into mom mode. This one is particularly rough, and if you see it, it's like the whole page. Yeah,
it's a pretty brutal one. Okay, yeah. So I hope people are enjoying the mayhem. You said you've never read Afterlife with Archie. So Afterlife with Archie was a very bold and brave experiment. Where they essentially took the Archie characters and put them into a zombie apocalypse. And it shouldn't have worked. Like it should have just been one of those comics that didn't work. Archie has met the Punisher and Kiss and all these other characters. And this worked because they didn't blink. They didn't try to make the art look like traditional Archie. And you can see on the left is one of the covers. On the right, that's a pretty bold first page of a comic. They used an entire black page. This is how the end of the world begins. Oh my God. I knew I was in for a ride. So throughout the story, you have this very gloomy looking scenario. The art is Francovilla. How do you pronounce that name? Francovilla?
Francovilla, I think it is. Villa.
Yeah. You know, there's Hot Dog, Jughead's dog. Not at all what you're expecting. And then Hot Dog becomes the first zombie and attacks Jughead. They're not blinking. They're not making this for kids. Like, this is not the Archie comics that you've grown up with. And then they continue the story. Every location, every major character, that is Jughead on the right, shambling in as a zombie to a costume party. They think he's got a great costume. He is actually a zombie. You can see Pops burning down. I mean, this is about as apocalyptic as it gets. I mean, the use of color, the use of the reaction shot, you can see and smell the heat of that fire and the way they have Archie silhouetted. That is a powerful moment. And then the hard zoom on the eyes is just everything you're thinking is what he's thinking. What the hell happened here? So if you have not ever read it, Deanna, I think you need to give Afterlife with Archie a real shot. They ended up doing a lot of other horror-related books, including Sabrina the Witch and some of the other books. But in my mind, nothing pays it as hard as Afterlife with Archie.
Do you think because it's Archie, it's more, it hits you harder because you're so used to Archie being such a, like, you know, it's Archie and Jughead and Pop and, you know, Soda, you know, they go to Pops. Like, do you think this hits harder because it's so different than the usual Archie stuff?
Yeah, because they lull you. They use the fact that Archie is not scary, and then the scary is so camp for so long, and you're so used to these characters that you're like, wow, this is tough. All right, so let's say.
Makes sense. I heard hot dogs are made of zombies. The coloring in Afterlife is great. Yeah, I agree. I like and you know that I think makes, like we were saying with The Walking Dead, it's black and white. It's all, you know, it's so visceral. But this, the colors are actually what make it pop a little bit differently than something like what The Walking Dead does. That's all like guts and, you know, spewing out of her, and it's an awful image. This is like a different type of terror, and the colors in it set that atmosphere differently than the other book that we just did.
Yeah, let me just zoom in on this. I mean, this fire is the epitome of loss of control in a zombie movie, right? That is like, that just says everything's gone off the rails.
But it's still Archie. He says "holy spit." Does he? He says it in there, doesn't he?
Yeah, right here it says.
There it is.
Yeah, holy spit. But let's see.
I think Franco Villa colors it himself. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the art is pretty great. I heard that guy dropped the F-bomb after he got bit by Jughead.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well,
let's see.
The Sabrina horror book would inspire the TV show.
Did it, or does it?
I think it does. Yeah, I think he's right. And they've been doing a lot. There's a bunch of like Halloween inspired horror books now with Archie. That's kind of their thing now. They do have an annual for sure, at least.
Well, that one was earth-shattering for me. It is one of my favorite of the zombie genre comic books. The next one is by you. Talk to me about what we have here.
Okay, so this is the plot. This is actually written by Michael Morrissey and drawn by Josh Hickson. And this came out from Vault a few years back. So this is a different type of horror too. There's a monster, right? There is a tangible monster, but the reason I picked this book, it's a different type of horror. It's very atmospheric.
What do you mean by atmospheric?
So from the beginning, it's the setting and the house and the land that the house is on. It's almost its own character. And so basically if you have, I don't want to give spoilers away, but if you,
I'll give the spoilers. It's fine. It's their problem if they didn't.
That's true.
They didn't read it yet. It didn't just come out last week.
No, it didn't. It's a couple years old. But so the gist of it is that this guy, his brother is killed, and he has to take on the brother's two children. He becomes their ward, essentially. You know, he has to take them on. He go back to their ancestral home in Maine. It's always in Maine too, by the way. What's with Maine? But they go back to this house in Maine. This is the family home, and it's on this land, and there's this bog. You know, it's on this big sweeping land. There's this like swampy, gross bog, and it's this dark, you know, scary mansion. And he takes his niece and nephew, he takes them in and he takes them back to their ancestral home. And, you know, as the story goes along, you learn more about the family. You learn more about why the brother was killed. Family secrets are uncovered, and the bog is a metaphor for, you know, years and years of just muck in the family, generational horror, you know. And it goes, and then it gets very supernatural. It's, you know, it's basically like this ancient evil that's been, you know, plaguing this family for generations. But and there's like a bog monster. It's like a, you know, a gross black, you know, icky thing. But like there is a monster and there is just an actual story. But the way that this book is drawn and laid out, it's all atmosphere. Like the colors are very dark, lots of purples and grays and blacks. And like as you're reading the panels, it very much takes you into that world, and the bog and the land and the house, they almost come to life. They're almost like another character in the book is the best way to describe it. So it's not like you know, there are scares, but it's not like, ooh, jump scares, ooh, zombie.
There's no jump scare. It is in your head. You're reading it at night.
Yeah. Deanna, give away the plot.
All right, here we go. What else we got?
It's the home of Stephen King, and it's crazy weird up there. Maine. Everything takes place in Maine for some reason. But yeah, like that's so like for me, like as soon as I started reading the series, it's like you get sucked in because of the look, which is tricky to do in a comic. Like we were saying before, it's hard to get that. Like you can set that atmosphere in a film much easier. This is harder, and I think this book it's the colors, it's the way that the art's
Well,
a little muddy. I think
but I think what you're showing here, and we saw that in the Afterlife with Archie, maybe this is a discovery. I would argue that it's easier to control color in a comic book.
Oh,
right?
sure. Yeah,
Right?
it is. It is.
You can just say that palette's going to have a purple and blue palette, or this palette's going to be all green.
Mhm.
So
I've
Andrew
published a few horror short stories. I wouldn't mind turning into a comic, just have to learn how to draw. Yeah, me too. I can't draw. Or you can hire an artist. It's true. Save your budget. You know, we talked about this in an episode. Make sure you set aside a budget for good people if you can't do it yourself, for sure. But you know, you also need a good. He's too cheap for that. You got to barter. We talked about bartering too.
That's right. Oh, and hold on. Gatilla has an explanation about Maine.
Well, Maine doesn't exist. Stephen King made it up after a massive coke binge.
And there you go. Okay, so let's move on.
Okay, so but I think going to your point, yes, it is easier to set the colors in a comic, but you have to have a good colorist.
Yeah, like if we look at this, I mean, you know, look at how much of the Archie comic depends on the correct color and the backlighting and the harsh lighting, and then in the plot, you know, that deep green with the hints of purple, and then over here you got your blues and your greens. It's very saturated palette, very dark, great for nighttime reading. All right, let's keep moving on. Okay, we both thought that this book, I've raved about this. You want to set it up for us?
I love this book. I'm a huge fan of this book. So basically, this guy he invites all of these people to this nice house on the lake, and this guy, and they all have a purpose. An artist, you know, they all have a different job. A lawyer, you know, whatever it is. And there's a whole bunch of characters, and he basically just shoves them in this house, and they think they all know him from some part of their life, whether it was college, whether it was at a job. They've all met this guy at one point, and he gets them all together. And then as you go along, you learn that he basically destroys the world outside, and he saves just this group basically in this house. And, you know, they uncover secrets, and they uncover things about the land where this house is. It's a good book if you haven't read it.
It is a great book, and I love the image on the right. You want to read that out?
Walter is not human. The world has been destroyed. He has taken your memories. Do not trust him. Yeah. So Walter,
I mean, oh my God. My head.
It's great because you know, it's funny because they go through how they know him, and he's been in their lives for a long time. Like some of them knew him when he was very young, but they've known him for so long, but they don't know him. They don't know who he is and what he's about.
And despite what we told you, we didn't even chip the surface.
Oh no, there's so much more.
There's so much more to it.
So much more.
By the way, I did read the sequel, Nice House by the Sea. It didn't work as well for me.
Yeah.
No, Nice House by the Lake was a revelation, not to be missed. And we encourage you to read it. We both called this one out for similar, maybe different reasons. This is perhaps, I think, one of the most shocking and viscerally visual scenes in all of comics. It is from The Killing Joke. You want to talk about what's happening here?
So, I mean, the Joker is essentially just torturing poor Barbara Gordon and everybody who cares about her. And this comic has been criticized for using her as, you know, the girl. She's the fridge. She's the girl in the fridge, basically, because she's the reason why they go, like, you know, Gordon obviously goes there for his daughter, but that's why Batman goes there too. And she's the victim, but it's a very powerful scene. It's a very harsh and horrible scene.
It is harsh.
It's really, very harsh. He shoots her, he paralyzes her, and then he basically poses her and like takes photos of her like in very awful ways, and is like, here, Dad, here's your daughter.
Yeah, we'll show that. So this, as if it's not shocking enough, I think one of the things that makes it more shocking is there is no dialogue.
No, it's awful. It's all like, and just from the first panel, he just walks in and faces her. You could see the fear on her face, and he just shoots her. He just shoots her, and just shooting her is not enough. Paralyzing her is not enough. Then he's got to degrade her. You know, he's got to put her in these. It's implied that there's rape. Obviously, there's implied that there's some sexual assaults in that sense. I mean, it's a sexual assault either way because he's posing her and she's half naked and it's
Wait,
all.
wait. I'll get to that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'll get to the next one. So, I mean, and she asked the question, "Why are you doing this?" And then the Joker,
To
to
prove a
prove a
point.
point, like,
Here's
and
the
you're
brag.
like, what's going on? So, the next is the Joker trying to break down Gordon.
Gordon, yeah.
This is the scene you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
This is horrific. This is a
Well,
father having to watch his daughter be repeatedly raped.
right. Right. There's clearly, I mean, obviously they're showing, very particular angles, but the implication is that she's being sexually assaulted and harmed and completely damaged. And her father has to watch this happen. And it's awful. It's terrifying. But the Joker, and we were talking about this earlier, the Joker is probably one of the worst villains ever. And the scariest part of him is that he just enjoys being like this. And there doesn't have to be a backstory. And that's scary in itself.
He is bonkers,
Yeah.
absolutely criminally insane.
Mhm.
And here's the interesting thing. This is amazing. Batman shows up. He says, "I want him brought in,
Yeah.
and I want him brought in by the book." That
Yeah.
is, you
That's
can see
Gordon.
he's crying. He's wearing a neck brace in this that you
Yeah.
don't see it, but he's stripped down. He's completely naked too,
Yeah. Yeah.
walking around in the cold rain. He's trying to break Gordon, and Gordon
Still
will
doesn't.
not be broken.
Yeah. Well, and then doesn't Batman kind of like there's like that whole thing where, the Joker is trying to break Gordon, trying to show you that, I can break anybody. I can make anybody do something horrible if I want them to. And Gordon, despite seeing all that horrible imagery of his daughter and seeing the torture, he still doesn't break. He still tells Batman by the books.
By the book.
Yeah.
So, Killing Joke, whether or not this is your cup of tea, I have often said that this is, I believe, one of the single best standalone Batman stories you can buy. It is not for the kindergarten class.
No, not bedtime stories.
And a lot of the Batman mythos then built on this. Obviously, Barbara Gordon stayed in the wheelchair. Obviously, a lot of questions about the Joker continue to rise. But then this became a recalled comic. It was Batgirl number 41. What's the story on this, news editor?
Well, I mean, DC has gotten itself into trouble a couple of times with they will publish they'll publish a cover or something and then quickly recall it. But, obviously, like if you look at the imagery, it's pretty rough. I mean, he's drawing his own smile in her face. He's got a gun across her. It's a very disturbing sight. It's basically saying I own her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was pulled. They pulled it. It was banned and then they pulled it.
It is a brutal. Hold on, there was something here.
Nothing scarier than someone white as the Joker in shorts.
It's true. And then,
so damsel in distress, tried and true method for making you hate the bad guy or tired and try, but you decide. Well, it really, I feel bad for Barbara Gordon because she is a hero in her own right and she does keep ending up in these positions. And, and maybe
so
that's.
Here's the thing. You can question. I questioned whether or not the cover should have been pulled or not, right? From a business perspective, but from an artistic perspective, it showed how scary the Joker is, even to a hero,
Sure,
who has seen it all. Batgirl's seen it all. This is a horrifying cover. If I zoom in on her expression, I mean, there's a lot going on here, not the least of which is the gun draped across her. He owns her, but was this so scary that it should have been pulled? I wonder, what are your thoughts?
I think that the reason why this was pulled, and this is just speculation and things that you hear, I think it's because it's her. I think it's Barbara and it's the Joker. And the Joker himself is always, I mean, he's psychotic, but he also takes pleasure in abusing women. And yeah, he's psychotic. I mean, his relationship with Harley Quinn is not a healthy relationship, despite people, and the memes, but it's not. And he's abusive and he's horrible and he's a villain. And yes, we want to make the villain a villain, but I think there's something very And look, I'm not for banning things. I'm very much a supporter of artistic expression, and this is a very powerful image. But I can see why it got backlash. I don't know if DC should have pulled it. Maybe they should have had like a black bag variant, if you know what I mean, or like, had a mature audiences, whatever. I mean, it's mature anyway because this is Batman books are mature, but like there's something particularly disturbing about this, and I think that's what got them in trouble. And maybe it's because maybe if it was Batman, it wouldn't have been as
Well,
horrific.
here's the question. Redheaded Ed is also a woman creator.
Yeah.
She asked the question. Go ahead.
Would have had the same weight if it's done to Gordon or Bat. That's exactly what. Yeah, I agree. Like I don't. If it were Batman or Gordon or Nightwing or another of the male characters, I don't know if it would have had the same effect. I think because it's Barbara, and we know what he's done to her already. I think there's a lot of weight in that image that I think people had a very specific response to, and that might be why. Yeah, I mean, I think it's because of her, and maybe if it was another female character, it could have also had the same. I think it's because it's there's such a like horrible, abusive, misogyny, horrific psychopathy in him, and it's more powerful when you see this. She looks like a little girl there to me.
She does, and Gatilla, that's a good point.
Yeah. To quote Always Sunny, it's the implication. Yeah. Like she doesn't look like a hero in that picture. She doesn't look like even a woman to me. She looks like a little girl.
Looks like a little girl. Now here's Drawing Swords is an artist. What do you think of this question?
The gun's a little much. Maybe if they did the gag gun with the bang, with the bang speech bubble, and it's like it's draped over her shoulder, and it's almost casual. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have to try that hard to have the power over her. That's what that reads as to me. And it strips Barbara a little bit of her power, as a hero.
If you're thinking about scary,
it's scary.
This cover is scary.
It is scary. It is. It's very disturbing. And like I said, I think I agree with the comment that I think it would have a different weight if it was Batman or Gordon or one of the Robins.
Or even as I said, if he softened it by putting the
bang on, yeah,
right. It is disturbing.
Yeah, it is.
And the artist went for disturbing and hit it. But we're talking about horror comics. We're talking about evoking an emotion. Everything that was shown so far is evocative and drives an emotion. This one of I feel afraid for her.
Yeah, no, she's terrified and
terrified.
And it's maybe if this was a panel in the book, in the story, I think maybe because it was the cover, it's really hard to see.
It's a hard thing to look at.
It's a hard thing to look at because like some of the other images that we saw, the Walking Dead one, some of the Archie, like they were in the book. They weren't the cover. Like even if if you choose to buy the book, you've bought this book, you know what you're in for with the Joker. He's cuckoo bananas and dangerous and abusive. You know what you're getting with The Walking Dead. You know what you're getting if you buy any of these horrific books. They're in the book, right? This one kills me. Yeah. But like, that's the cover. So if you're in a comic shop, you can't necessarily look away. You can't, you know what I mean? I think that might be the difference. If it was a panel, I don't know if it would have had the same.
Deanna, do you think that we'd still be talking about this comic now if it hadn't been recalled?
No, I don't think we would have been. I think
it forgotten.
No, I think it would have just been if this wasn't recalled or if it was inside the book and not the cover. I don't think it would have had as much.
They made it what it is.
Yeah.
I would say that this cover, and we'll get into the interior pages, knowing that this is a picture of Robin murdered,
right?
That's a pretty hard cover too.
Yeah. But you know what the difference? I think the art for me. This is a personal response to this. Putting that art and the colors next to what we just saw, it's very different. Like this looks it's cartoony to me, and it's good art. I'm not taking away the art. That is got like a realistic, almost painted quality to it. It looks more real, and maybe that's the difference. It
looks like to me. It looks like you're looking through a pane of glass. Like it has almost like a chiaroscuro to it.
It's too real. It looks too real. Yeah.
Yeah. That little haze makes it look realer than this. Now, the attack of Robin, this is when they allowed the audience to vote. This is all off camera, but you are witnessing a murder of a boy. And no matter how many times I see this, first they beat him. He is a boy. They beat him hard. We see his fear, but this never stops being disturbing to me.
Yeah.
When I see this, I go, this is when the Joker, to me, it became clear that they were not ever going back to the 1966 Batman Bill Dozier television show.
Yeah.
This was, I mean, for me, a tipping point. And I didn't grow up reading Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil. It was already old. I read this in real time. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's awful, and you can see just that series of imagery of him just happily beating Robin it's madness. Yeah, he's enjoying it,
and it's very Tarantino-esque in that much of the violence is implied and off camera. You do see the first hit, which is here, which is brutal. You see blood spurting out of his mouth as he whacks him in the spine, but this being off panel, it's relentless.
Sure. And if this were, and movies do this too. They do a similar setup where you see the beating, but you don't see the victim necessarily, but you'll see a splatter. You'll hear that wet meat slap, right? And that you don't have to see it to know what's happening and have that response.
But I do still find this cover by Mike Mignola to be disturbing. Of all the covers that are in this, knowing that this is the issue, that he is actually dead, I find this to be disturbing, and I'm surprised that there's no backlash on this even now, that people say, like, this is a little much. Like, to me, this is a little much.
Yeah, but I think it's like we said before. I think, to me, this reads more cartoony than the other one. The other one seems like a picture, and I think it's the pose. Yeah, that's a dead body, totally disturbing and awful. She is just so terrified in that image, and there's it's very heavy, and that I think is
heavy.
It's very heavy.
You can. All right, so the let's see. Okay. Oh wait, hold on. We have to go back because I missed a few comments, so we go back.
What the hell happened in the actual comic?
In this comic, in Batgirl 41, does it even matter? Nobody knows. I can't even tell you what the real cover was. This is a good comment.
But this Batgirl cover does harken back to those EC covers.
Yeah. Okay, good point. This one from Matthew Giff.
Is the content in the book reflective of what is on the cover? Because variants sometimes have nothing to do with the comic. And you know what? I can't even tell you, because this cover became the star of the show. It was because of this cover. I can't even tell you what the panels on the inside were. I don't remember.
And that's the irony of it. They actually drew attention to it. Oh, you just got it? Yeah, let me tell you how it ends, Andrew. Also, Darth is Luke's father, and Rosebud is just a sled. Okay, yeah. Carry on.
Okay, the worst panels are the mom looking away. Yeah, it's that response, right?
It is the response. Okay, let's see.
The Red Hood animated movie adapted Robin's beating, and it was hard to watch. Yeah, I remember that. Parker and Lambert.
What is Parker and Lambert?
I don't know what that is. What's Parker and Lambert?
Daily and Alien. I don't know what even.
I'm not sure.
Glenn's keyboard is going.
I think it's more disturbing. Anyone who voted for their favorite Robin is now an accessory to murder.
That's right, because this was the vote. Okay, we spent enough time on this one. We still have a couple more. This is from Preacher 9 and 10. So the first Preacher arc set everything up. It was Garth Ennis filling the characters out. But what they end up doing is delving into Jesse Custer's family history. In this particular sequence, the end of issue 9, they walk Jesse to the edge of a dock and they open up a casket. And they tell him that he's going to get into the casket. And he's retelling the story of how he gets into the casket. We see the casket, and on a cliffhanger on issue 9, and holy cow, what a cliffhanger. But
Mhm.
it doesn't disappoint, because in issue 10, How I Learned to Love the Lord, they literally have him sunk at the bottom with concrete and air being pumped in. I'm not claustrophobic, but this makes me claustrophobic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Why does this work as horror, Deanna?
Because we can feel that, right? Like, so there's different types of horror, right? Some horror is so whacked out that it's freaky to watch, but it's like, when is that? That's never going to happen. That can't happen in real life. But like something like this, like you could feel everything over you. You can like you can see that picture and you automatically put yourself in that coffin at the bottom of the water, the pressure. And even if he's got air pumping in, that claustrophobia, like the heart rate goes and the panic goes, you can feel that. You can feel it. And like that is why that is so powerful, you know?
This is, to me, such a memorable scene, and it is defining to the character of Jesse
Mhm.
Custer's background.
Yeah.
So what else?
It's very much an impressionistic death scenes inspired by the deaths in Chainsaw Massacre. It's funny because I was actually thinking about the Chainsaw Massacre, that we going back to that idea that you turn down the wrong road, you happen upon a terrible family, right? Which is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like you're suddenly in the dark with a bunch of people who guy's got a chainsaw and he's wearing a skin mask, but it could happen. And and everybody's been on that road where it's a little too dark and you're lost. So you automatically can put yourself in that position. And that's why stuff like that works, because you can feel. That's why I think some horror doesn't work and some does. If you can put yourself in there and you can feel that sensory response to whatever the page is describing, you're gonna get that horror. You're gonna feel it.
Yeah, this takes my breath away every time I've ever read this, and I don't, and then what does the dialogue say there? It says,
I can't read that.
between the stink of my S and the puke and pee and the noise from what was crawling around outside, my week inside the coffin kind of sucked. And you go,
A week.
a week?
I even spent 5 minutes in there.
5 minutes. So, all right. So it is definitely, it is a powerful reminder that Preacher was indeed a horror comic.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Sin City. This was replicated in the movie. I blocked out. It's ironic. I don't block out the heads that are on the wall that are mounted, but I block out the one little nudie bit because hashtag censors. We're okay with violence. It's
But we're not okay with boobies.
a little movie, but in this scene, Rourke has captured women, chopped off their heads, and mounted them. You see that here. And she is being held hostage. He is held hostage as well. And she notes he eats people. It's not just that wolf of his, it's him. He eats people. The wolf just gets the scraps and the bones. He says he cooks them first. And then over here, he said, he made me watch, son of a bee, kept smiling, that damn smile, and made me watch him suck the meat off my fingers, son of a bee. He made me watch. He made me watch. And we see her bandaged stump of a hand and the smug, emotionless face. This is horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not just that he's beheaded and he's a serial killer, but he sucked the meat off her fingers and has wrapped her stump hands.
Yeah. And she's still alive and has seen all of this. That's awful. But yeah, I mean, this is the serial killer territory, right? And again, scary because if you follow any sort of true crime, there's some wild stuff out there. But yeah.
And now here, right? Like he is not affected.
No, he's completely calm. Yeah.
Amused. The powerful use of negative space, the distance, and then the deep close-up of someone who realizes that her hand over here is just a stump. And she just very Sin City-like says, Christ, I could use a cigarette.
And that's a good point. I think that going back to how to lay it out on a comic page, like this is, you don't have the power of the camera and the lighting and the close-ups and you know, moving the camera to different shots, but you have to do those shots within the page. So you do need your long shots, you do need your close-ups, you do need to put some insets in there, and the lighting between the light and the dark is very powerful. Like that middle panel of him just sitting there calmly, it's effective that everything behind him is black when the rest of the page is more white tones. And you know, I want to call out lettering too. I think the lettering and the sound effects are also important in horror.
Powerful. Yeah.
Very
powerful.
like, if you don't have a good enough, if your letterer cannot bring those especially the sound effects and the, you know, like something like that, and like any sort of noise or screaming, that's a huge part of it. And I don't know if letterers always get enough credit for their part on the page creatively, right? It's not just dropping the copy in a you know, a word balloon. It's part of the design. They have to help you follow the story, but they're the ones making the sounds for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
all right, here we go. We got some questions here. Go ahead.
I don't know if you have discussed it already or plan to later, but personally, I find some manga more disturbing and scary than most.
I have a favorite manga artist. I had considered including. I think I'd like to do a separate episode because the manga-based horror is very different than
it is
what we would consider Western horror. So I had a few, and then I moved them out. I'd like to do a separate episode on it. Maybe you can follow up with me.
Mm-hmm. Black and white just works so well for horror. I think the horror. I think it's very.
But the plot hinges a lot on the color.
Yeah,
right.
I think, you know, I think something like Sin City, something like Walking Dead. I think because the images are horrible, like it's like graphic. I think you get the point in the black and white, and you can that contrast of the black and the white is massive. Where something more atmospheric, like the Archie comic, like the plot, I think when you have the colors, it's a mood thing more than a getcha, more than a scare, if that makes any sense. So the fun fact, Kevin in Sin City is based on artist Jeff Darrow. Interesting. I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Decapitated women on a wall. Oh, A-OK. Breasts canceled. It's true. We don't like boobies.
That's why I blurted out.
And
he was a cardinal. He was the cardinal.
Cardinal, yeah. I think Dark Horse is releasing H.P. Lovecraft stories in manga. I'm not knowledgeable in manga. I have a very, very basic knowledge of that. That's definitely not my area.
Well, ask D. Morris if D. Morris knows. Maybe D. Morris knows. D. Morris is another news hound.
Very
Stray Bullets. I call this one out. You're not familiar with this, are you? This particular issue?
Not this issue, no.
Okay, so Stray Bullets is a big influence on me and will influence my upcoming comic Unmade Men. It will, like Stray Bullets, be black and white, very stark. In this particular issue, this kid is going out in a classic 70s comic book Halloween costume, which is just to say a sheet that's cut out with eye holes. Her older sister is supposed to take care of her, but she wants to go with her boyfriend, Greg, and leaves her sister to just walk around in the night by herself. Other kids are spying on her and discover that she's alone and go to attack her. They are classmates of hers, and she's had problems with them at school. So they chase her down, and of course, the best place to run is into the dark woods when people are chasing you, of course. But it gets worse. She's chased down. They've got her. I guess not unusual for kids to beat up other kids. You are a teacher. It happens. Kids are limited in their ability to do damage. But one of them has a weapon. They begin to really beat her badly. The pull-out shot of them beating her with the leaves in the extreme foreground, and then her crawling in pain, and continue to kick her when she's down. They've got the costumes still on. Their costumes are intact, makes this even scarier. A knife is drawn. And now you're like, hey, wait a minute. This other kid is even like, hey, Kevin, cut it out. He takes the knife and cuts her face. And next page, it doesn't get easier. In fact, they keep beating her to the point where they show he has literally sliced her face open and she is in complete shock. You cut her, man. Look at her expression.
Mhm.
That is like,
Shock.
at this point, I'm reading this and I'm like, this is worse than I thought.
Mhm.
She gets the scream off. They continue to attack her, even though, they could let her go. She bites the one kid, bites the other kid. Another kid attacks her. They continue to attack her. They take it one step further, and somebody hits her over the head with the rifle. They continue to beat her. The rifle, oh God, let's go, to what I think is one of the most horrifying endings to a comic book on Halloween, is this child murdered in the woods.
Yeah.
And there's no jump scare.
Mm-mm.
There's no music. It is black and white. You probably forgot it was black and white. There's no red blood, but that final panel, does that not crush you?
So I think what this actually is another way to that I think is a very effective way to do horror. I mean, anything that involves children is just awful, right? And then it's almost like it's horrible, like kids doing this to each other. It's really terrible. And I think what in this particular story, it's how long it goes on.
That's right.
It's the length of this scene. It goes on, and there are breaks in it, and there are stopping points, but then it goes on again. Like, it's the pacing and the length is what makes this work in such a horrifying way.
And,
you don't need
it's also the variations of the shots, I think.
Yeah.
You have the top-down view. You have this, I'm not sure what happened to her, and then she turns her head and you see a slice through her nose.
Yeah.
Like, you were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, this is worse. And I agree with you. It is this relentlessness. Even though she fights back, it is then they take their superior numbers and they have a gun, and they begin to beat her and break the gun and smash her until it's just over. And I mean,
and I think the reason why that's effective is, again, going back to the idea that you put yourself in that position. It probably feels like a million years to this poor victim of these people just relentlessly beating her. And you almost feel like that as you're reading this, that the pages just go on and on. It's like, when is it going to stop? When is this pain going to stop? And I think that's what gets you.
All right. So we had some.
Okay, it's official. I'm having nightmares tonight. We did our job. Yay, success.
All right. We have
some Stephen King level bullies here. Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh, hold on. Going back. And then
Dan does know things, or so I'm told. Dan is very knowledgeable. I told you. They are releasing, I hope I say that right, Gotanabe's adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft series. So far, they've released At the Mountains of Madness, The Shadow over Innsmouth, The Color Out of Space, and I think a few others.
We got to have him as our phone a friend.
We can. Dan is awesome. We should get Dan is very knowledgeable. So
Dan, you're coming on the show here.
Yeah.
Only missing the Pompadours.
Yeah.
We did this one. Okay, this is interesting.
The panel being the same exact size makes each scene more intense, with a sense of anticipation and inability to intervene. It's well executed. Yeah, that's exactly it. There's no the only page that's a full page is that last one where she's dead. It's just shot for shot of torture and pain, and it's that, like, you feel like you're the one getting your ass beat.
You want that to stop. You're like, stop. Yeah. Stop. You've beaten her.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm typically not a fan of this panel layout, but it works well here. Yeah, I think it's the pacing. It makes it sets the pace for sure. Gonna go hug my dog now. Thanks for the fear, buddy. Happy Halloween. Oh no, you have to hear my voice. It's okay, Dan. We've talked. It's fine.
Okay, so again, I'll take this back to. I put this up as one of the scariest comics because of the nature of the psychological horror, the relentlessness of it, the unblinking nature of the camera, the cruelty of the children, and just the end that it's just heartbreaking, no matter how you slice it, you want this kid to just get away and just make it. And when she's
Yeah.
murdered in the woods, it's so much. So, and it's set in Halloween. It is set 1977 during the premiere of Star Wars. It is very much whimsical up until this point. It is a whimsical story. And then at the end, you just do this, and like you can't believe what you've just read. So let's carry on. Crossed. Hold on.
Dan knows things and he can talk. What can he do?
All right. All right. So I'm going to zoom in here because this is important. So Crossed. Do you want to set up Crossed?
I don't know much about this. I'll be honest. This one might have to be you.
All right. So Crossed is a series started by Garth Ennis and Jason Burrows. Basically, you can see the crosses on the characters. They are essentially zombies, but they are extremely smart zombies, and they are extremely sadistic zombies. They are sort of a mix between 28 Days Later, where technically they're not zombies, but they are fully aware. But what they do is they get into the most basest evil part of yourself. So when you're infected, a cross somehow grows on your face and begins to bleed, and you are the most sadistic and evil person, and you also have a desire to convert everybody else. Like all zombie-based literature, movies and films, whatever, it is, people are the most evil. In this scene, we stumble upon this woman. She says, "Don't hurt them." It doesn't even matter how they find her. She is their kindergarten teacher.
No, not the kindergarten teacher.
And I knew this would get you. So, Ann Cook, I was their kindergarten teacher. All they have. So they bring the kids in. This woman has been blinded by the accident, and they realize here, and it's here. It's a little hard to read, but so I'll read it. We can't rehabilitate them if we stay here, and we're asking for trouble. If this Alaska idea, they're going toward the cold, we're gonna need to keep moving west. On their own, they'll either starve, talking about the children, or be taken, or they might just survive the way she showed them, which is bad news for anyone who happens along. It seems to me that their things are hard enough out there. Now, they're talking about the school children and what to do with them. And you realize now that they are making a decision with the remaining 6 school children that they are going to execute them because they can't bring them along during a zombie apocalypse. So they're having this debate, and they say, finally, somebody has to make a decision. And you can see in this panel, far off, walks into what is essentially the last building that they have. They're all waiting outside. This woman, mysterious, we learn out about here. He says he can't. They hear the first gunshot, and then I will bring this in. She is killing them one by one in their sleeping bags. These kids wake up, realize what's happening. The guy that says couldn't do it joins her because he knows he cannot let her do this all by himself. He says, "I didn't imagine the people they'd killed." And you see here, didn't entertain a sliver of doubt that if we hadn't done it, they'd have done it, which means the zombies would have converted them. Didn't invent the scenarios in my head where at the last minute miracle saved their lives. All I thought about was I finally accepted the world was never coming back. They sit there in the smoke, and she just says, "Appreciate it," because no one had the guts to do what had to be done. We find out later why she does and who she is, but I find this to be horrifying as she's executing kindergartners in their sleeping bags. But the fact that these two wake up and are just gripped with this, does this not kill you as a kindergarten teacher? I mean,
as a parent and a kindergarten teacher, this is awful, and it's one of those situations where it's like, and again, this is the horror taps into yourself. They're helpless. Like they're at a point, the kids are helpless, and the adults are kind of backed into a corner as well. They're in such an impossible situation, right? And you have to make these horrible decisions when you're in an impossible situation. And it sucks and it's horrific. Nobody wants to sit here, murdering children, obviously. But,
Look at these kids clutching each other, hiding, trying to get away. And here's the thing: if I got eaten in a zombie apocalypse, number one, I'm delicious. I'm Italian. You too, right?
I'm full of
The
olive
garlic.
oil,
I mean,
garlic.
Raised on olive oil running through my veins. I'd want somebody to take care of my kids. I'd want them to go, well, take the kids. They realize they can't take the kids, and that is horror.
It is hard. And it's also, what's the bigger horror? Do you let these kids get eaten by zombies, or do you just put them out of their misery? Those are your choices. And that's horror in and of itself, because it's like, this is the rock and a hard place. This is the impossible situation. You know what's going to happen to these kids. They're not going to survive. So which is worse, putting them out of their misery or letting them get attacked and devoured by these, flesh-eating zombies?
And they recognize that there is no worse. There is no better.
Either way.
They make the choice because the world was never coming back. What a line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a line. Once again, a Garth Ennis. This is horror, not because we have a jump scare,
right?
Not because we have scary music. It is because psychologically we wonder, what we do in this situation.
Yeah. It is. You put yourself in it. You go, what would I do in this? This is impossible. This is an impossible situation. And Garth is good like that. He's got those good lines that like go, yeah, what would you do? Like, what is your choice? All
right, here we go.
Okay, seriously, this is like the 10th time you talked about girls. I guess you like
it. It is the 10th time.
10th time. Yeah, Buddy left it on his desk by accident, so it keeps coming up.
All right. I you know what you did bring up Hackslash. I have read Hackslash.
Something is wrong with Garth Ennis. Yeah, I mean, his stuff, he's a good writer, but it's intense. It is very intense.
He can tap into a dark side. Okay, we're almost to the end. I just wanted to give two quick hits. The one on the left, early work by Eric Shanauer and Ed Brubaker, about two boys who are on an army base and accidentally, or maybe not accidentally, kill a girl. It is so authentic. And since Brubaker and Shanauer both admit that they grew up on an army base, it resonates with so much veritas that it is more than a little bit chilling.
Yeah.
It is. A couple people have commented, like, is this a true story? It feels so real. And the other that is a kind of makes a chill go down your spine. The theme behind Superior Spider-Man is Doc Ock takes over Peter Parker's body. So what you see here is Doc Ock in Peter Parker's body, forcefully kissing Mary Jane, who realizes something here ain't right. Yeah, so Superior Spider-Man was gross to me. It just grossed me out. And I read the first couple of issues. I thought it was clever, and I was hoping it would go back, and then it did this. And this was a point where I was like, I don't even know how to wrap my head around this. Did you read either of these issues?
I did not. No, and I know about the Ock taking over his body, but I never read it. It is gross in a lot of ways, and
it's gross, and you want it to stop, and they carry it on for much too long. And did they have some good story ideas? I think it was probably the best of the writing that Dan Slott had done on Spider-Man, and Ryan Stegman did a great job illustrating it. But it was too much for me. And maybe that's what they were going for. That's what they were going for. What do we have here?
When one goes fighting monsters, take care not to become one yourself. Ooh, that's deep. I like it. Comic books are weird.
They are weird. All right, we're almost to the end here. A little shout out to one of the most fun Halloween stories that you can read, The Long Halloween. Love it. Still holds up today. But if you still want to get your Halloween fix, many comic books and back issue bins that you can get. Yes, there are indeed Halloween comics, Friday the 13th comics, and even Nightmare on Elm Street. There is just about a comic book for just about everything you could possibly imagine. What scary comics did we not include? Deanna and I only had an hour. We've already run over time. But we're going to ask you, what comic should we cover, and should we do this again? What do you guys think? I mean, it's hard to get Deanna to be contained to one episode and talking about horror. She had too many ideas.
I do. I have so
And
much.
I had to limit her to just Tuesday night because she would have done this well into tomorrow morning.
A whole 24 hours horror comics marathon. Let's go. Let's do it. Who's in?
Yeah. Black Hole. Good
Hole.
one. Good one. Let's see. What is this one?
Notes for scary stories, Ed and some sexual assault and child endangerment, and Bob's Your Uncle. You know, there is a lot of child.
What does that mean? I don't even understand it. Is that like a reference to something?
Bob's Your Uncle. That's a phrase. I want to say that's a UK thing. Am I saying that right? I know I used to work with a man who grew up in England. He used to go, Bob's Your Uncle. So I don't know.
What does that mean?
I think it's kind of like, and there it is.
All right, let's see. What do we got here?
So many deaths, including even time, could not survive. You know, there's the thing that I've noted. We had a theme here tonight that I don't think we meant to have was a lot of child murder.
Yeah, but I think that's horrifying. It is just
absolutely horrifying. But like, as we're going through, I'm like, we have a lot of child murder.
We do have a lot of child murder, and then horror manga.
Yeah.
I will note that a lot of the manga that I've read that is horror based is body dysmorphia. And I think, I don't know why. Maybe we could get an expert. Maybe Dan Morris is an expert in manga, or if we have a manga expert. Why so much of that is body dysmorphia? But I think horror manga has got some great stuff. It looks like
Domu by Katsuhiro Otomo. Yeah. Dan, this is all you. I mean, if you know more about this than I do for sure. This is not my area. Hellboy. Oh, good old Hellboy. We haven't even talked about Hellboy.
Hellboy horror.
It has horror elements to it. You know, and Dan and I did a roundtable for the beat, and we actually talked about this, that sometimes it's a bit of a cross genre thing, where it's like it could be, if it has horror elements, it could be counted as horror.
Yeah, it's so stylistic. It's hard to tell. Okay, so everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed having Deanna. Don't forget. Hold on.
The comic is more horror than the movies.
Oh, probably right.
It plays into radiation fallout from Hiroshima, very prevalent in the Far East.
Oh,
okay, there we go.
That's an interesting take. The audience is very smart.
You're so knowledgeable. Just want to thank Redheaded Ed for backing my Evermind Kickstarter. If anyone else here back, please let me know, because we are now friends.
Oh, that's right. Hold on. I did promise Sean Chen starter Evermind. Let's keep our promise up. Let's just see where we are with the Sean Chen Kickstarter. So it's not too late. They have 8 days to go with $18,000 pledged toward an $8,888 goal. Our good friend and constant contributor is doing a comic book that is our pal, not Garib Sheamus, our pal Sean Chen, partnered with Daniel Wu, who did a video with us. Lots of great giveaways. Definitely want to back this project, folks, because Sean supports us. We need to support Sean. I'm going to copy this and put it right in there so that you don't have to look for the link. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Is Buddy's screen blurry tonight? Maybe I need to clean my camera?
Or is he just cosplaying the Flash tonight?
Oh, no. I blurred my background because my office is a mess.
The Hellboy story, The Chained Coffin, is one of my favorite creepy comics stories. I don't think I know that one.
All right. Good, dude. Anytime. Love that comic. It's awesome. Slow down the coffee. All right. Okay, now last but not least, folks, I am officially getting ready. I've started to build the back end of Patreon. Sign up for your Patreon account. It's free. The comic book school, at least in the beginning, will be free. We might have eventually some tiers, but in the beginning, it will all be free. I am not giving you the address. You just have to find it. If you find it, I will accept you to join. So it's up to you to find it. I'm just curious to see how people organically find this. I'm going to start putting things in there, so check for it, and check back this every Tuesday, like we do, and all Tuesdays. Hold on, this Tuesday, like all Tuesdays, We thank you for joining us for this extra long episode of Comic Book School Live. And I thank you, Deanna, for sitting in and playing the role of Mike Fasolo. You are horror genius.
Thank you.
People go out and buy Deanna's books, comic books, go to Amazon, buy her stuff. Happy Halloween, everybody. And we will see you again next Tuesday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.